Hey, hello viewers. Good to see you here. I think we had a little trouble with the audio of our title song, the title music, but not a problem. Here we are, right behind the title song with you. This is Sandeep Nath, and you're on the Renewalism Show. As you might have captured the context of the show if you've been with us for the last couple of days, we're talking about this book called Renewal, which is a very timely release at a time where the world is finding ways of renewing itself. And this renewal has sort of been forced upon us with the COVID crisis. But this book urges you to not follow the the force of nature, but rather be the force that shapes the new reality. So every day I have guests with me from different walks of life, and we discuss the content of this book because this book. Let me tell you a little about it. It's written by Guru Pranachandra, who's an energy form that sort of manifested, and I was the medium to write whatever he said. And this was back in November, December last year, when I wrote a set of 30 habits, which would, if implemented and very easily implementable, would serve to renew the planet. Strangely, by January end and more in February and March, we found that many of the habits that had been channeled through me were actually being applied by humanity. You know, telecommuting, for instance, and so many things that the lockdowns have brought about on us, which have resulted in the air getting better, relationships getting better, so on and so forth. So before the lockdowns are over, I think it's important that we understand which of these habits really serve us. And I encourage you to ask your questions, put your comments as we go along, or even if you're watching this video later, to put them here because we'd respond to them and we'd like to look at perspectives in implementing the ideas of renewal. Now, today I am joined by a guest who's from Bombay, and it was a pleasant day for him, he said, with a lot of rain, of course, but nice winds and pleasant showers. So thank goodness for that. It could have been a very damaging day for Bombay. But Anurag Sinha has been a banker. He's been in the corporate space for many years and has moved into being a consultant and a speaker now. And so I bring him on this show because a lot of you would relate with that sort of a background. And also, you would relate with the concept that we're going to discuss today, which is the first habit of systemic renewal. Now, let me just play this for those of you who are wanting a better idea on what is renewalism. Renewalism is about the set of habits which would renew us at a level of ourselves, at a level of our relationships with each other and with the planet, and that's symbiotic, and at a level of making changes in systems, that's systemic renewal. So it's a kind of behavior change which is infused by our own volitions. And yesterday we had a talk about the first habit of symbiotic renewal, which was carrying your own stuff. Very interestingly, we had Nirja Singh from Delhi with us, who threw light on a lot of facets of that. And we had Meenu the day before on the first habit of self-renewal, which is about how you use your 5 minutes in the morning to completely recharge yourself. And if you do that on a daily basis, as of all habits, it will bring about a sea change in the way that you live and interact with the world. So that's renewalism, something that you can put your finger into right away. And this book is subtitled Your Unexpected Role in Saving the Planet. So here we are, a brigade of people who want to save the planet. And I'm going to bring on Anurag Sinha. There you are, to address some of your questions and comments as they come along when we go live. So hi Anurag, and I'm going to take away the book from between us, so there's nothing between you and me. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a real pleasure because I know your background is so much like people who we are wanting to reach out through this book. They are currently they feel more stressed than normal. The realities have changed. There is the pressure of work intensified. A lot of students, like your sons, for instance, who are like teenagers now, are experiencing the pressures of having lost a month and now a lot of deadlines to meet. And in the midst of all this, and sustainably, this book and Guru Pranachandra is proposing that you write a renewal message every day. Now, I'm just going to pull back to the book so that our viewers have a context. That he says that, you know, if we are to bring about renewal, it's through us fine, through our interactions fine, but there are a lot of things that need to change in the ways that we operate. We've taken schooling, for instance, that conditioning of going to school, that conditioning of going to office, that conditioning of uh, how we behave in society. Those systems need to be reevaluated. And he specifically lists things like education, medication, pollution, manufacturing, transportation, information dissemination, and governance as important problem areas. Now, in the first habit, he proposes that you, as a corporate executive, write a lot of mails. So you could possibly start writing a mail a day on one subject to one person. How practical do you think that is, Anurag, really?
Okay, so I'll tell my views over here on this is number one, that first thing, that these things have changed drastically in the last couple of months. None of us were expecting it, and we have to live with this change. So that is a renewal in itself. So everybody has moved to a new normal, and have to get into a new normal. So we are struggling with that, and it will eventually happen. Uh,
Right.
Now, coming to the writing of mails, okay, so I'll tell you how I would look at it. See, I receive so many mails, a lot of these. I'm become by default, or somewhere I was signed and I became a part of the mailing list. Okay, now I unsubscribe to some of the things which I don't relate to, but some of the things that, even if I am not opening and reading, but I still let it come, because there is some connect. Okay, possibly some point of time I might open, and I'll take some action around it. So similarly, if you are kind of reaching out to a set of people, whether it is just giving information, or possibly giving an information, and there is a call to action where you want to upsell some of your products or services, you have to keep writing. Okay, so till the time, and that gives you a recall. That's the people can register. The more they receive that message from you, they will have that recall. Because if you have given a good message, you left it out, not followed it up, it's going to be out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. So I personally
Right.
believe that there should be a constant engagement, and constant writing, if at all you want to convey some message. And I, I'll just, there's one very beautiful example, which I want to share with you. So I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen that movie Shawshank Redemption. That was one of the iconic movies of all times. Uh, in this, what happens is Andrew Dufresne, he writes he wants some books in the prison, and there are no books, and the warden says that there's no fund, so forget it. So he said, I'll write to
Mhm.
the Senate, and he starts writing a letter a day. Okay, so if you can help us with a book, and there's no reply. Keep writing, there's no reply. And out of 6 years, they sent him a set of books, which was from the old district library, unused books, and a check of $200, and telling him that look, we've you please stop writing now. we have this matter has closed. We are sending you this book and $200 for your year. Now please stop writing. So to which Andrew
Wow.
Dufresne, what he says? Now I'll start writing 2 letters a week instead of one. So,
Wow.
so that
So,
was that's the power of actually writing, where it took a lot of time. It took 6 years. but it actually had an impact in terms of what he wanted from that whole exercise.
That's fantastic that you quote this example because it's so pertinent. It was just my hunch and this channeling that yes, constant messaging would, like you were saying, it would give that feeling of connection between people. I know this guy. He keeps writing and he says something or the other. I don't bother to read, but it's interesting. He's thinking differently. And in this book, for instance, there is a parallel track that is woven with a family. And Shekhar is the head of that family, and he's writing these renewal messages to the Prime Minister's office and against corrupt practices in the governance system. Governance was one of Guru Pran Chandra's key areas, right? And after about 25 days of constant hammering, the first officer of the Prime Minister's office looks into it, and they strike off a great relationship because he understands that this is a caring being, and he's generally interested in solutions, which he's putting his thinking hat on. And I'm so happy that there is Smriti Bhavna with us here, who says that there should be constant engagement, and I think that that's so wonderful that you say that, Smriti, because with constant engagement, you can get people moving in the direction of thinking differently. And renewal requires that sort of thinking. Yesterday, we were having a chat about thinking on plastics. And I believe that if all these lobbies that are talking about the livelihoods related to plastics and biodegradable plastics, if they are communicating more with each other, having constant engagement, that's what's going to make those changes. So, any comment on that specifically, Anurag?
Yeah, so it's consistency is very important. Okay, so in terms of any communication, and so a lot of times even on a personal front, okay, not only in the on some kind of on the business side, personal front also, if you see that some of the people that you stop connecting, you stop sending messages, stop making a call, that connection snaps. Okay, so consistency, constant communication is the key to actually kind of making that connect. And that was a very good example that you said about this Shekhar and Gautam, that he keeps writing, and after that he sees the merit in what he's saying, and then even if that was not in the priority, it becomes a priority in terms of the action. Yeah. So because there's somebody who's concerned, somebody who's showing that drive to take it forward, it makes an impact to the other person.
Right. So we have some nice interaction happening here. I have a question more specifically for you because it's a practical kind of question.
Yeah.
What is the methodology that you would recommend for this to become a habit? Because we write lots of mails every day, but to just frame a thought on a subject like corruption and governance, for instance, or writing to the school principal about looking at online education. Now, this online education business has been forced upon us, and teachers are having a tough time, and students are having a tough time. But if it had just been planned out methodically, which no doubt a lot of people have thought of in the past, then we would have probably reduced a lot of buses on the streets and a lot of a lot of natural resources and a lot of time, commute time, and all sorts of things. And kids would get more time to interact, play. So, what I'm saying is, if somebody has taken to their head that they want to write a systemic renewal message to the principal or to the pharmaceutical lobby or to doctors or to governance, how do you suggest that they take that one message a day, take that time out and get it done?
Okay, so first, Sandeep, my first thought comes that you should look at one message that, or one aspect, or one idea that really appeals to you. Okay, so first, don't dilute yourself into too many things. Okay, so today I'm going to write about pollution, tomorrow I'm going to write good about education, and day after, I'm going to write about politics and corruption and all that. I think it doesn't work. Okay, so you're going to spread yourself too thin. So my suggestion is first pick up just one thing that really one aspect that really touches your heart very strongly. You feel very, very strongly about, and that brings about an emotion. Probably you're very angry, gets you very angry, very agitated, or something that really shakes you up. So just look at that first one subject on that, and then look at how you want to make an impact. You have to first understand, what is your strength in terms of making an impact. Possibly somebody can draft an email very, very well, and communicate to maybe a lot of people, or maybe that one person that who is in charge of taking the decision to make a difference, or possibly write a blog. So there's different methodology you can use, but again, as I said, consistency is the key. It's not that today I write, I got very charged up in the morning, and I get up and I had a nice shower and I'm going to write 10 pages and do nothing about it. Okay, so it doesn't work. So you have to have a plan, a strategy out of it. That what is it that you want to do? Whom do you want to connect with? Who is it that you want to convey the messages to? And then work towards it. And you see that today with the electronic media and communication becoming so easy, I would say, and so democratized, I would say, because it's so easy for everybody who has got a good idea. They've got a platform in which they can convey the idea. You've got Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. You've got huge number of places in. But again, you have to be consistent with your messaging, and you have to keep writing. Keep that consistency on. But again, I say that stick to that one great idea that you have, or one thing that you would want.
One you're passionate about.
Very passionate about, yeah.
Awesome. So identify what field you want to make a difference in, and then identify who all you want to reach out to, and then get your messaging, even if you need to get it professionally vetted, and maybe use more than just mail, use a blog, but use the mediums that are available today to make sure that the voice keeps getting heard consistently. I think that sums up very, very beautifully. We have Vidya here, who says communication is a democratized good one. Yes, Anurag, it's so nice that you're sharing these practical ideas, this practical wisdom, because this is what readers of Renewal are going to need to implement. And often viewers, we feel that cultivating habits is a difficult thing. It's very easy the way it's spelled out in this book. It's kind of defined step by step. Maybe Anurag, on closing thoughts, you want to mention something about how you, as you read the book, felt that habits could really be cultivated more easily.
Okay, so renewing yourself is not something of an option. Okay, it's say one of the trainers that I had attended, he gave a very, very nice example. You are standing on an escalator that is actually moving down. So if you are not learning, if you are not changing, if you're not renewing yourself, you're actually going back. So even if you are moving at a slow pace, you will be standing at the same place. So you have to really, today the world is changing so fast, and we've seen it in the last couple of months. In just 2 months' time, the entire life is gone for a toss. Everything what was conceived, we used to take for granted is just not there. So look at whenever, and the one way that I use, one thumb rule which I've followed in my life: whenever I get comfortable, I feel that that's the time to renew myself. Okay, and I start looking at how I'm going to, because getting comfortable is a very dangerous space to be in. You can, just by being comfortable, possibly you can get obsolete, in no time, and without you realizing, just because that you are comfortable. And I see people all across, and one of the big mistakes that most people, especially in the corporate world, make, that they are very happy in the space that they are, the salary that they're getting, the job that they're doing, but really not looking at inventing. I'm not only the corporate world, even the entrepreneurs that I've seen, Okay, so to change, to do things a little differently, how I can make an impact to the people who work with me. All of this is so important in terms of renewal. It's now a survival technique. If you ask me, not something that can be done as a part of luxury of life. That's the only message that I can give right now.
Awesome, awesome. That's a great closing thought. Yeah, renewal is not an option, and you could do it any which way. We have a comment from Mino who prefers to write. Well, put pen to paper and stick the envelopes and put them in the mailbox. But do it every day and get the voice heard, because it's the wise saying goes, that countries don't suffer because of bad leaders, they suffer because of bad citizens. So it's for the citizens who have to become good citizens, and being good in this context means being participative, assuming
True.
responsibility and taking that forward. So
True.
fantastic. For those of you who are wondering, this book is going to be released tomorrow on Amazon. I'm not really sure about the date. I don't have a reconfirmation. But we're going to be on this series every night at 9 p.m. on the same page. So you keep joining us. And we're going to have a new guest every day. So as we go on discussing different habits and different perspectives, the book is going to be in the marketplace and you're going to have a chance to go through it yourself. And meanwhile, keep adding your comments, keep adding your questions. So from Anurag and myself, for the moment, we'll sign off for today. And thank you for joining us. Lovely having your comments here. Keep them coming. Have a great evening. Ciao, Anurag. See you.
No, thank you so much for having me, Sandeep, and all the best for your book. Hope you make $1 million with this.
I hope we change 1 billion lives with this.
I agree.
Thank
If you're able to change 1 million lives,